We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. In the face of such a horrifying existence as that of the Night City. In other words, I watched Cyberpunk Edgerunners and now I feel defeated and empty. This is Fate and you're watching Tiny Wave TV. Or should I say the great wave of pain. Alright, we shall not drown, not so early in the video at least. There's some serious stuff to tackle in this one. What do I mean by saying the protagonist doesn't matter in Cyberpunk Edgerunners? Let's start with how the series handles character as an element of fiction. When I first finished the anime, I felt like the characters were not so well developed. When the characterization is done right, we end up knowing the characters thoroughly. So there's this lasting impression, like they come alive and live on in our minds. I didn't get that kind of impression from the Edgerunners characters. So does that mean we're dealing with bad characterization here? Not necessarily. It's as good as it can be, I think, given the fact that it's not the main focus of the show. So what is? The one element that is the most well developed, that has other elements such as character and plot at its service, is none other than the setting. By following David and other characters and their stories, we get a vivid image of this fictional world, how people live and die there, and what it feels like to be a part of that society. As a result, the Night City comes to life in a way that the characters never do. We get to know the Night City as a harsh, apathetic, hostile, oppressive environment. It is the antagonist of the anime, the force that goes against the characters, and its crushing power leads to the people's lives becoming so insignificant. So the characters become insignificant. Now, considering this kind of approach to character, it's really interesting that the show seems to be using a certain popular trope, the chosen one. It basically means that someone is chosen or destined to be the hero or the anti-hero of the story because of a particular characteristic or ability that they have. The trope is used a lot across popular media, especially in shonen anime. Your favorite shonen MC is most probably a chosen one. So how does the trope work in Cyberpunk Edgerunners? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Everyone and their moms talk about it in the anime. David, the protagonist, seems to be special, built different, because of his high tolerance of cybernetic implants. The narrative really pushes the idea, but when David himself said stuff like he was different and all, it really reminded me of the movie Blade Runner 2049, which is the sequel to Blade Runner. The world of OG Blade Runner from the 80s has influenced the world of Cyberpunk 2077, the game. So obviously the worlds look alike, but that wasn't what reminded me of 2049, it was the protagonists. I think the comparison is going to be illuminating on how the chosen one trope works in this anime. If you haven't watched the movies, you might want to skip this part. Blade Runner 2049 is so innovative in the way it treats the trope, basically turning it on its head. The protagonist is a replicant, but through a series of events, he comes to believe he's special, like he's something more than just another replicant. Turns out he's sadly mistaken. That special person, the chosen one, exists in the movie, but it's just not the MC. So the protagonist ends up not being special in the context of the story. In other words, he doesn't matter. What Edgerunners does to the trope though is that it crushes it. Perfect all kill. Yes, David is special, but what it decides to do with it is moving fast toward his own grave. I was hoping that the specialness would save him at some point, but no. There was no destiny involved in that ending, only the result of his own choices. There was no chosen one, only the city as the great antagonist that crushed every individual. Here, same as with Blade Runner, the protagonist doesn't matter. But it's not because there's somebody else that matters. It's like nobody matters. What the nihilism? Yeah, I told you I felt defeated and empty in the beginning of the video, didn't I? Character, individual, human is defeated in the context of Cyberpunk Edgerunners, but I like to believe that humanity isn't. Not as long as people connect with each other. Not as long as there are people who make the sacrifices and others who keep the dream alive. So how did you like my rose-colored glasses? Let me know in the comments. Maybe check out our other stuff which are not as grim as this one. And see you next time.